November 11th, 2012, Belize. The body of American expatriate Gregory Faull is discovered shot execution style. The prime suspect in this murder? John McAfee, the man who wrote the code to protect half the world's computers. When the local police arrived to question him, he was already gone, vanished, slipped into the jungle, even buried in the sand, while the world watched. What followed was not just a manhunt, it was a masterclass in digital evasion. It showed how one man, paranoid, brilliant, and utterly detached from society, could use the very technology he helped create to become a true digital outlaw. This isn't just a story about a fugitive. It is a cybercrime documentary about the man who defined digital security, only to spend his final decade redefining digital rebellion. To understand the fugitive, we first have to understand the genius. Back in 1987, Silicon Valley was full of innovation, but it was also dealing with a new kind of threat, a digital plague. The brain virus was spreading rapidly through floppy disks, quickly causing widespread panic. McAfee saw the threat and, more importantly, he saw the opportunity. He created VirusScan. He didn't just sell software, though. He sold fear. He successfully amplified public terror about computer viruses, just enough to drive desperate IT managers straight to his product. He quickly became a king of the digital realm, the man who promised total security. But John McAfee despised that crown. He hated conformity, he loathed shareholders, and he deeply mistrusted authority. By 1993, he cashed out for $100 million and walked away from the empire that bore his name, only to watch his fortune collapse in the 2008 financial crisis. His personal conclusion was simple: governments and institutions were parasites. His new mantra became clear: I'll never let the state own my life. In 2009, McAfee flew to Belize, seeking what he called absolute autonomy. He set up a fortified compound, armed with bodyguards, guns, and a makeshift lab. This was no longer about simple security. It was about full-on sovereignty. His existing paranoia was no longer just a business asset. It quickly became a dangerous reality. His neighbors grew hostile, police raided his compound, and the whole situation climaxed with the murder of Gregory Faull. When McAfee fled, he officially transitioned from a tech pioneer to a digital age fugitive. He knew the rules of the new world he helped build: stay encrypted, stay mobile, and never trust the system. His initial escape to Guatemala was textbook evasion, until he made his biggest blunder. In an act of supreme arrogance, McAfee contacted Vice magazine, offering an exclusive interview to control the narrative. They published his photos. Within hours, a hacker tweeted a warning. The pictures contained GPS metadata, the exact coordinates of his hotel. A critical failure in basic digital hygiene. This metadata mistake is a lesson we see taught in security reports constantly. From nation-state surveillance to common phishing attacks that exploit a sliver of personal information, data leakage is always the enemy. McAfee was caught in Guatemala, but his next move was pure theater. He faked a massive heart attack right there on the spot, successfully stalling his deportation to Belize, where he believed he would be killed. He later admitted to the deception, but it bought his lawyers time to force his repatriation to the United States. He literally conned an entire nation out of a homicide charge using a performance worthy of the dark web's most cunning scammers. Back in the US, McAfee sought his newest stage, cryptocurrency. He declared himself a prophet of Bitcoin and Ethereum, seeing crypto as the ultimate tool against the financial establishment he despised. But the IRS was closing in. McAfee hadn't filed a tax return since 2010. The charges were severe. His next escape was a high-tech maritime thriller. He lived on a 75-foot yacht, using satellite internet and encrypted communications to taunt federal agents on Twitter, broadcasting his whereabouts or sometimes his decoy locations. Crucially, his crypto evangelism quickly turned into a racket. He began promoting coins to his 2 million followers, allegedly engaging in pump-and-dump schemes. This is a form of financial cybercrime where the scammer artificially inflates a coin's price, then sells their own stake for massive profit. This demonstrated the evolution of digital threats, from the early viruses McAfee cured to sophisticated financial fraud and dark web scams that exploit market psychology and social media reach. He was no longer fighting the system, he was exploiting the gaps in the new digital frontier. After 18 long months, the game finally ended in Barcelona, Spain. A routine passport scan flagged him at the airport. After years of high seas evasion, one simple, analog check finally brought him down. He spent 8 months in a concrete cell, awaiting extradition to the US on severe tax fraud charges. In his final communications, he referenced Jeffrey Epstein, tweeting, "Know that if I hang myself a la Epstein, it will be no fault of mine." On June 23, 2021, hours after the Spanish court approved his extradition to the U.S., John McAfee was found dead in his cell, ruled a suicide. The final chapter of this cybercrime documentary serves as a vital lesson in digital responsibility and prevention. McAfee ultimately failed by leaking his GPS metadata. We must always assume everything we share is permanent, use VPNs religiously, and check the permissions on every single app. His pump-and-dump schemes are a modern phishing attack in disguise. Always verify before you invest. John McAfee, the man who built the walls of digital security, spent his last years trying to tear them down. But the digital world is a space of both unparalleled freedom and profound risk.